Welcome to Unit 11, Part 1, talking about areas of polygons and circles. The first part we're going to talk about is area of parallelograms and triangles. And there's two parallelograms and a triangle and a circle in here. So basically, the area of a triangle, as you all know, is area is 1/2 base times height. The area of a square is a side squared. The area of a rectangle is length times width. And the area of a circle is pi r squared. We've talked about circumference, 2 pi r, or pi times diameter. And we've talked about perimeter, adding up all the sides. So now let's get to area of a parallelogram. An area of a parallelogram is the product of the base times the height. So a parallelogram is just base times height. And remember, the height is a perpendicular segment going from one base to the next. It does not have to go from one vertex to another. It just goes from base to base and is perpendicular. So to find the area of the pentagon, here we can divide this up into a couple different figures. We can divide it up into a rectangle and two triangles. So here is the first figure in yellow right here. The second figure is in green, and the third figure right here, the third triangle, is light blue. So the area of the yellow, well, if you notice the base, if you count, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the height, 1, 2, 3. So it's 1/2 of 6 times 3, so it's 9 units. The area of the green, it's a rectangle, and it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the area of the green is 5 times 6, which is 30. And then the area of the blue, well, the base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the height is just 1. So it's half of 5 times 1, so it's 2.5. So the area of the figure, if you go 30 plus 9 plus 2.5, is 41.5 square units. So here, find the perimeter and area of parallelogram RSTU. Well, the height here is right here, and that's what we need to find, because that would help us to also find this side here. If it's a parallelogram, you know, is 20. So the perimeter is 32 plus 20 plus 20 plus 32, right? Because opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. So the perimeter is 64 plus 40. It's 104 inches. But now the area, well, that would be 32 times, well, we need to know what the height is. And in order to find the height, we have a right triangle here. So we could do 12 squared plus h squared equals 20 squared. 144 plus h squared equals 400. So h squared is equal to 256. H is equal to 16. So 32 times 16 gives you 512 square inches. All right, same thing for the next one. Perimeter, well, perimeter is 2 times 27 plus 2 times 17. So it's 54 plus 34, which is 88. And then the area So the area, so the base would be 27 here. And the height is what we want to find. And so we go 8 squared plus h squared equals 17 squared. 64 plus h squared equals 289. Subtract 64 and you get h squared equals 225. So that means h equals 15. So 27 times 15 gives you 405 square meters for the area. So the perimeter and area for this parallelogram, well, the perimeter is 2 times 9 plus 2 times 12. So it's 18 plus 24, which is 42 units. Now to find the height, we know this is 9, and that is the hypotenuse of the right triangle, and this is a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. So h, so basically 9 is equal to rad 2 times h. So then when you divide by rad 2, you get 9 over rad 2 equals h, and then remember you rationalize the denominator. So it's 9 rad 2 over 2 equals h. So then to find the area, it's equal to 12 times 9 rad 2 over 2. Well, 2 goes into 12 6 times, so it's 54 times rad 2 units squared. All right, so number 5 here, it says the height of the triangle is 12 more inches than its base. The area of the triangle is 560 square inches. Find the base and the height. So if you draw the triangle, here's the height. So the height is equal to b plus 12. So remember, area is equal to 1/2 base times height, and height would be b plus 12. And 560 is the area, and that's equal to 1/2 base b times b plus 12. Now to get rid of the fraction, we'll multiply both sides by 2. So we get 1,120 is equal to b times b plus 12. So you multiply, or sorry, distribute, so you get b squared plus 12b. Then you move the 1,120 over. So you get b squared plus 12b minus 1,120. So when you factor, the factors of 1,120 that add to 12 are 40 and negative 28. So when you set each one equal to 0, you get b equals negative 40 and b equals 28. Well, b can't equal negative 40, so b is 28. So the base is 28, and the height is 12 inches more, which is 40. So number 6 says the hypotenuse of a right triangle is 12 inches. Find of an isosceles right triangle. An isosceles right triangle means 45, 45, 90. So to find the area in the perimeter, well, you have to find the legs, and remember the hypotenuse is the square root of 2 times bigger than the leg. So when you divide by rad 2, and remember, you have to rationalize the denominator. So a is equal to 12 rad 2 over 2, which is 6 rad 2. So now the perimeter, so that means this other leg is 6 rad 2. So the perimeter is equal to 12 rad 2 plus 12 inches. The area is 1/2 of 6 rad 2 times 6 rad 2. So it's 1/2 of 36. Well, 6 rad 2 times 6 rad 2 is 36 times 2, which is 72. So half of 72 is 36 square inches. All right. So next it says the hypotenuse of a 30, 60, 90 triangle is 12 inches. Find the area in the perimeter of the triangle. So 30, 60, 90. The hypotenuse is 12. Here's 30, 60. Remember, opposite the 30 is half of the hypotenuse. Opposite the 60 is rad 3 times the leg. So the area, the perimeter would be 18 plus 6 rad 3 inches. The area would be 1/2 of 6 times 6 rad 3. So it'd be 18 square root 3 square inches. Number 8, the base of a triangle is 5 times as long as the height. So the base is equal to 5 times the height. And the area is 345 square inches. Find the base and the height. So remember, area is 1/2 base times height. So that would be 5h times h. And 345 is equal to 1/2 5h squared when you multiply. Then you're going to multiply by 2 to get rid of the fraction. So 690 is equal to 5h squared. Divide by 5. So h squared is equal to 138. So h is equal to the square root of 138, which when you rationalize is not a perfect square and does not have any perfect squares that goes into it. I mean, when you simplify, so therefore the height is the square root of 138, and the base, remember, is 5 times the height, so it's 5 times rad 138 inches. All right, number 9, the area of an obtuse triangle is 52.92 square centimeters. If the base of the triangle is 12.6 centimeters, what is the height? So remember, 52.92 is the area, and that's 1/2 the base, which is 12.6, times the height. So remember, we're going to multiply by 2 both sides. So you get 105.84, cross out that, equals 12.6h. Divide by 12.6, and you get the height is equal to 8.4 centimeters. Number 10, so it says find the perimeter and area of each figure. Well, number 10, the perimeter is 10 plus 10 plus 17.9, so it's 37.9 feet. The area of the triangle is equal to 1/2 the base, which is 10, times the height. Well, we need to find the height, and the height is right here, so you have to do the Pythagorean theorem. And when you do that, you get that the height is 8. So 1/2 of 10 times 8 is 80. Half of 80 is 40. So it's 40 square feet for the area. All right, number 11, or sorry, the next one for number 10. The perimeter is 2 times 13 plus 2 times 11. So it's 26 plus 22, which is 48 centimeters. The area, well, it's a 45, 45, 90, so we need to find the height because we know the base is 11. So the height we find because, or sorry, the height, remember, is going to equal the legs here, and the leg, remember, the hypotenuse is the square root of 2 times bigger. So when we divide by rad 2, sorry, we get that. And then we multiply by rad 2 top and bottom to rationalize. So we get 13 rad 2 over 2. And then when we multiply, we get 143 rad 2 over 2 centimeters squared. And last but not least, number 11. So it says the height and base of the parallelogram if the area is 168 square inches. So notice 168 equals x times x plus 2, because that's the base and the height. So 168 equals x squared plus 2x when you distribute. You have to subtract 168 because it's a quadratic, so you're going to factor. And now the factors of a negative 168, which add to 2, are 14 and negative 12. So this becomes x plus 14, x minus 12. So you set these equal to 0. And you get x equals negative 14, x equals 12. So the height is equal to 12 units, and the base is equal to 14 units because it's 2 more. All right, so that concludes our video on part 1. Part 2 coming up.